repeat after me. Pronoun replaces a noun. A little louder. Pronoun replaces a noun.
My favorite thing that we've done this year is the Haley Hershey chocolate passage.
Nelson Mandela once said that education is the most powerful tool that you can use to change the world, and I firmly agree with him. I think that teachers shape the world by shaping their students' education. If you think about it, where did the teachers come from? The teachers that will be teaching in the future. Where did the lawyers come from? The doctors come from? They all have to have an education. There's some common ground there. They have to have an education in order to be where they're at now. So I think that when a teacher shapes the student's education and the student's education shapes their future is going to shape our future as a country. These people that I'm teaching now are going to eventually be shaping my children's future. So obviously that's extremely important. But education is one of the aspects in life that can be taken for granted here. And it's crazy to me because it can be taken for granted here, but then in another country, people travel, they walk to school, they want to better themselves. And yet here it's handed to us, and it's almost like we don't seem to take full advantage of that as we should. So my goal as a teacher and as an educator is to get these students to take full advantage of their education, to make something of themselves, to have an intrinsic motivation about who they want to become, and how to get there.
My favorite thing that we did this year is learning about how to find an idea.
I think education is so powerful that if it's utilized correctly, it can change the fate of the world, or it can determine the fate of the world. So a teacher basically decides the impact that he or she is going to have on their children, whether that be positive or negative. And in the long run, the students will remember that regardless, whether it was negative or positive. So having a positive, lasting impact on my students' lives is really one of my ultimate goals in teaching. I'm here to change their life for a reason. I don't do this for the money, obviously, and I don't do this for the excitement, because meetings and paperwork aren't always fun, but just seeing that my students can look back and think, wow, Miss Goggins really taught me a lot, or Miss Goggins is someone that I want to model my life after, or something just that simple can change someone's life, and that makes it all worth it.
My favorite things we did this year in Miss Goggins' class was play Kahoot and be able to bring our iPhones and stuff to school.
But the best way that I've found to impact a student's life and to bring education into their lives and create the intrinsic motivation is to find something that intrigues them as a student and as a person, whether that be basketball, football, cheerleading, dancing, video games, whatever it is, but finding that and correlating it with the education, the instruction that you give these students. One of the best ways that I found to reach my students is to preface the learning with empathy. Your students need to know that you care. You need to create a bond with them that lets them know that they can trust you and that you're there for them regardless. Whatever it is, you're going to be beside them every step of the way. Whether that be going outside on your own time, picking up a basketball and playing a game with them, or going to a soccer game on a Saturday when you could be doing something else, or even attending a funeral of one of your students' mother, which is extremely tough, but that's just something that your students need to know, that you are there for them, that you are willing to walk with them through this process, because middle school especially is not an easy thing. Students struggle a lot with their social life and their home life, much less their educational life. So being able to connect all of that together would probably be one of the best things that you could do as a teacher.
My favorite thing about this year was when we played dodgeball.
Alright, Sam, the STEM is ego. What's the meaning? Alright, good.
Aside from seeing that you care and that you understand, you also, like I said, have to make learning fun and intriguing to them. So if it does take a basketball game, incorporating that into your instruction, then do it. I know I used a basketball trash can that looked like a basketball net, and we played a game of basketball, and that's how they remembered their stems. That was a review game that we did. And when I asked them at the end of the semester, when I did the survey, half of them, maybe even a little more than half, said that they remembered grudge ball, and that would be one thing that they would never forget. So if that's just something that I can incorporate into my instruction and that they enjoy doing, then why not do it? I think oftentimes teachers struggle with being able to motivate their students with things other than like candy and bribing them. But if you're able to take what they want to learn about and then incorporate it and correlate it with what you need to teach and what the standards are, then you've done your job. So basically you have to learn what each student is interested in and connect their learning to your instruction. If it takes one student to the side playing with Play-Doh, building sculptures because they're trying to figure out something about ancient Greece and Rome, then let it be. And if another student is in another corner co-reading with another student about a book, trying to work on their fluency and their comprehension, let it be. That's something that you're just going to have to embrace as a teacher, is the chaos. 75 students is not an easy thing to handle, but once you can figure out that it's okay to have students doing different things at the same time in the same classroom and learning different things, then you've got teaching under wraps.
My favorite thing we've done this year was STEM's review games.
In order to make sure that each of these kids are successful, as I've said, as one of my goals is meeting them where they're at and scaffolding them up to where they need to be and where it is that they have to be in order to be successful in life. Regardless whether we want there to be expectations or not, there are expectations in life, and employers are going to expect certain things of our children, and that's just something that we're going to have to accept and work towards. So whatever works, do it. Like I said, if it takes Play-Doh, if it takes hula hoops, if it takes Kahoot, any kind of technology, do that. And basically just tie in all of your education, your instruction, your standards with what they want to do. Some of the things that I did in student teaching that they really enjoyed was using their cell phones. And I think that's really interesting because when I was in school, I couldn't even have a cell phone at school. I had to leave it at home. That's something that just goes to show you that the world is changing and evolving, and as teachers we have to evolve with our students. But using cell phones in the classroom is a major way that you can get them to pay attention to you. Them being interested into a game of Kahoot, and in order for them to be interested in that game and competitive at that game, which is something the middle grade students are crazy over, they have to know the material first. And so by learning that material to play that game, I've done my job. So basically just wrapping in technology with my classroom and with the students has been a major help to me. And for the hands-on students that don't necessarily want to look at a TV screen or a smart board or a cell phone screen and play Kahoot, there's sometimes you're going to have to make games that are hands-on. You're going to have to pull together 2 hula hoops, create a Venn diagram, type out some word strips, and let them go at it. Let them work with partners or on their own to figure out what goes where. In order to sort things into different hula hoops, they would have to know their material. It all boils down to one thing, is them knowing the content. And from them knowing the content, it all boils down to you knowing the content. The teacher has to know the content before they can teach it. You have to show your students that you're confident in what you're teaching in order for them to even think that it's necessary for them to learn it. You have to prove to them as students that they have to be able to know these things in life in order to make it, to be successful. A lot of times students are like, why do we even have to do this? What is the importance of this? It's just for a grade. I've made a point with my CE this semester to make sure that everything that we do has a reason. And things that don't have a reason, we state that. We're honest with our kids. Listen, this is what we're required to do. It may help you in the future. You may be able to connect it, but this is something that we have to do. But let's not focus on what we are not going to use in the future. Let's focus more on what we will use in the future. Instead of teaching to the test, I want to teach to their future. So being able to impact my students and make them successful in their lives is my ultimate goal as a teacher.